Chelsea Clinton accidentally scorches Meghan McCain while dismissing congressional rumors on The View. Chelsea Clinton dismissed the rumors that she's considering a run for Congress while taking a subtle swipe at fellow political daughter Meghan McCain. Clinton filled in Wednesday as co-host on The View for Joy Behar, who's been out all week, and was asked right away to comment on rumors that she might run for the House seat vacated by the retiring Representative Nita Lowey, DNY. "I understand why people are asking, and someone has asked me some version of this question for literally as long as I can remember," Clinton said. Clinton looked at co-host Abby Huntsman, whose father John Huntsman served as Utah governor, ran for the Republican presidential nomination and then served until recently as the U.S. ambassador to Russia. "Abby's nodding," she said. "One of my earliest memories is being 3 or 4, and someone asking, 'Are you going to run for governor of Arkansas one day?'" Clinton's father Bill Clinton served as governor at that time, before going on to serve 2 terms as president, and her mother has served in the U.S. Senate and as Secretary of State before winning the 2016 presidential nomination. "I share that because it's a question that shouldn't just be asked of someone whose last name is Clinton or Huntsman," Clinton said, as McCain looked on from the next seat. McCain's father John McCain served 2 terms in the House before going on to serve in the Senate from 1987 until his death last year. "Ask kids, young people, women, and I hope that if the answer to that question is yes, I'm considering it," Clinton said. "You go to other resources that will help you do that." Clinton wouldn't rule out entering politics at some point, but not now. "I don't know, but right now the answer is no," she said.
And co-author of the book Gutsy Women, and pretty good girl, woman in her own right, Chelsea Clinton.
Thank you. Thank you. Morning, everybody.
So, before...
Thank you.
You have got some big fans back there. I see you, ma'am.
Hi.
Yeah, they love you.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. Listen, we're glad to see everybody. We are. We're glad everybody comes out, because you don't have to come to us. You could go to another show, and you came to us, so yay for y'all.
Yeah.
But, we have to start by asking, because apparently there are rumors that you are considering running for Congress. Now that Congresswoman Nita Lowey is not seeking re-election. Is that rumor? Are you thinking about it? Or
I'm not considering running for Congresswoman Lowey's seat.
No, why not?
Oh, well,
kids.
thank you, Sonny. Oh, gosh, thank you. But Whoopi, I understand why people are asking, and someone has asked me some version of this question for literally as long as I can remember. I don't know, Abby's nodding. Like, one of my earliest memories is being 3 or 4 and someone saying, like, "Chelsea, you're going to run for governor of Arkansas one day." And, I share that because I think it's a question that shouldn't just be asked of people whose last name is Clinton or Huntsman. It's a question we should be asking kids, like, do you think about running for office one day? Young people, women. And I hope that if the answer to that question is yes, I'm considering it, that you'll really think about doing it and go to run for something and other resources that exist to help you do that.
Do you think you ever will?
I don't know, but right now the answer is no.
Okay.
All right.
You just had a baby.
I just had a baby.
3 kids.
3 kids.
Did you
Abby.
get any sleep last night?
I actually got the most sleep last night that I've gotten since Jasper was born.
Good.
Oh, I slept
that's a good night.
almost 7 hours.
That's a good night.
Yes, ma'am.
Enjoy today while it lasts.
I mean, I feel like I have superpowers because I got a good night's sleep last night.
There's some disappointed people in the audience, but it's okay.
One
have to
one
wait.
day you might. You never
Maybe.
know.
Yeah. Maybe, but not now.
Well, there's a lot of not disappointing things happened last night, apparently, on television. And as the Democrats met in Ohio for the 4th presidential debate, and the biggest target, apparently, of the night was Senator Elizabeth Warren. Take a look.
Costs will go up
for the wealthy, they will go up for big corporations, and for middle-class families, they will go down. I will not sign a bill into law that does not lower costs for middle-class families.
At least Bernie's being honest here and saying how he's going to pay for this and that taxes are going to go up. And I'm sorry, Elizabeth, but you have not said that. And I think we owe it to the American people to tell them where we're going to send the invoice. The difference between a plan and a pipe dream is something that you can actually get done.
I agreed with the great job she did. And I went on the floor and got you votes. I got votes for that bill.
Well, okay. Clearly, I guess they think Elizabeth is the one to beat right now. Did she hold her own?
I thought she was terrific, actually. You know, she is the lady with the plan. It's clear that she is obviously the front runner, at least in their minds, because that's why she was under attack so much. She never lost her cool. She didn't lose her pacing. I think that's what you need to do in a debate. She had the most time speaking. She spoke for 22 minutes and 32 seconds, as opposed to, let's say, Kamala Harris, rather, who spoke for 12:24, and Booker spoke for 11:19. So, I mean, you know, she took up the majority of the time. I think it was a misstep, though, with her Medicare for All plan, because we know she's the lady with the plan, but she's not really explaining how she's going to pay for it, and they've pounced on her for that.
Time and time again. I give Mayor Pete, and I think Amy Klobuchar, kudos. Mayor Pete, who I've liked from the beginning, but I thought last night was his best performance yet. He came out swinging. He's in that moderate lane. Klobuchar's there, but Biden also. But he delivers what Biden is saying, I think, so much better.
He's a great debater.
And so if you were just reading this debate, the transcript, and you didn't know their age, you didn't know what they look like, you didn't know much about them, I think the way that people were polling today would be very different. I think the way we'd be talking about them would be very different. His numbers in fundraising as well is, you look at his campaign coffers, he has $23.3 million compared to Biden, who has 8.9. Money they can spend right now in their campaign.
Doesn't
money
have a
speaks.
plan. Listen, money speaks, but BS walks.
He hit back on
plan,
one.
and just because you got money doesn't mean you
have a plan. And what I like about him is he says, let's live in reality. If you want to win this election, you got to give people a choice.
So what has he said that,
so he's saying
that
on
got you fired
for
up?
example, he's all for, like, let's find better health care and more options for people, but you can't tell the American people, you don't have a choice in this. He also had a great moment with Beto O'Rourke on guns, when Beto said, I'm going to go in people's homes and take people's guns. He said, this is a purity test. That's never going to pass. So let's live in reality once again. I think that is the way to beat Trump. If you go so far to the left and say, we're going to live in this world that's never going to exist, you're not going to get people in the middle.
Yeah.
They're going to have no option but to maybe vote for Trump again. That's what's going to happen.
Well, if that's the only option for people in the middle, that's not the middle.
Amen.
That's not the middle if that's the only option. What'd you think?
Oh, I have many things to say. Last night I was live tweeting it because there's only so much time in these segments. I will say I thought Warren did a terrible job, and she was on her heels all night, and it showed just how vulnerable she actually is.
We watching the same debate.
I disagree.
Yeah, but I'm watching it as a Republican. You're watching it as a far left progressive. I say that with respect to you.
Oh, I'm not a far left progressive at all, actually.
Compared to me, you are. Compared to everybody in this room, it's fine. But I will say, I actually thought Mayor Pete came out swinging really hard, and I thought it was quite impressive. I don't know what Beto's doing other than running for MSNBC host coming up. I'm sure he'll get a good hour. That's right. Tom Steyer's Christmas tie was deeply distracting the entire time. And I want to say Andrew Yang brought up the topic of automation. The only reason why we're talking about automation is because an entrepreneur from New York, not from California, I messed that up when he was on here, brought it to the forefront, and he had a way better answer than Elizabeth Warren did.
And also, I think, it's one of the things that people slammed your mom about, because people forget that, it's not immigrants coming over and taking your jobs away. Your jobs are being phased out. They are being done by machines. So let's be realistic about what's going on and find ways to get people, to encourage people to find new ways of moving your life ahead when, because we've seen it happen when automation comes in, a lot of stuff disappears.
But Whoopi, at least on the Democratic stage,
those were issues that were being discussed, right? At least, like, gun violence was discussed. At least opioids were discussed. At least universal health care was discussed, and not treated as a pipe dream, but treated as something that has to become reality in our country. And so, to me, like, just the contrast to Republicans, with all due respect, Meghan, could not have been more clear because of what we were talking about last night. And I liked that we had this dynamic, strong conversation.
Can I ask you this, though?
I'm supposed to say that. Do you want this thing? What is it? It's a moment from last night that you all were talking about this morning, and you, Chelsea, were talking about it. Take a look.
We are seeing all over this country women's reproductive rights under attack, and God bless Kamala, but you know what? Women should not be the only ones taking up this cause and this fight. And then it is not just because women are our daughters and our friends and our wives. It's because women are people, and people deserve to control their own body.
So that was kind of a special moment, I thought, last night, because so often, with all due respect to the men in the audience, when women's rights are discussed, men often start with as a father of a daughter, or as the son of a mother, or as the brother to a sister, or as a husband to my wife. No! It shouldn't matter. Like, our human rights are our human rights, and those should be respected and protected and advanced because we're human beings, not because of your relationship to a woman in your own life. And I was so, so, so grateful that he made that point so strongly last night.
He did.
That's a good point. He also said as a vegan at one point, and I was like, you got the vegan point locked and loaded.
You're right.
Got it. I was like, I don't know what that has to do with anything.
Maybe I'll ask both you guys this. But why won't Elizabeth Warren answer the question on whether or not the middle class will have their taxes raised with the Medicare for All? Because she's very good at spinning.
I think they're going to be raised, and I think they're going to
Sanders said it.
They're going to save money by, let's say, perhaps not having the insurance premiums that so many of us have when we go to the doctor. So
But why
perhaps
not
they'll
just
have more
say
money in their pockets. But I think you have to, if you look at the breadth and depth of her plan, the money has to probably come from taxing the middle class as well.
I
think that's just the truth.
She could take some of that money, that $1 trillion that Amazon is sitting on.
Yeah. Well, that's what she was saying initially.
Well, no, you know, the only one that said it is Andrew Yang. And I still don't understand why that idea of trillion-dollar companies, which is something we've never had in this kind. No, that we've never had in the company before. Well, you know what? Let me shut up. We'll be right back.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget like and subscribe. Leave your comment for video. Thanks.